Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of things like a puck, but it kind of goes both ways, right? You've got instant catch with the shaman, you've got Netherward that's great against it, but it's also amazing control against these three TNC heroes, and decent follow up for something like a Dragon Knight, or
Dire
even setting
team
up for
pick.
a Dragon Knight. So let's see what avenue they go down.
Oh.
Love the clockwork, love it. I mean, it's something that you can put in the position 5 role as well if you wanted to go a little bit more of a passive, like a range style of hero for the position 1, and against the Pugner, against the Shaman, Battery Assault just
10
absolutely
seconds
destroys their
remaining.
impact.
Yeah, there's a lot of flex on
5
Summit,
seconds
like you
remaining.
mentioned. Could be Grim DK. You could keep the DK flex and not really show anything. Maybe pick your carry here, but I don't know if you can for Summit just because you don't see the offlaner or the carry here on TNC. So I'm just trying to think of what they'd rather show.
And there's no real like just solid carry left, right? You can't drow because you're against a Storm Spirit, even though it would have been nice with the clockwork. You've gone ahead and banned the Medusa yourself. You banned the CK yourself. TA's gone. Lifestealer's gone. So what
Radiant
even is
team
left
pick.
for them to pick here?
Ember Spirit.
Okay. I mean, it can be flexed, I suppose. It's not like it's very common for that to happen, but they do have some level of flex left. And it's with a Grimstroke, right? So that's just going to enable diving in onto the backlines without as much concern.
10 seconds remaining.
I think it was always like you kind of
5
wanting
seconds
another jumping
remaining.
hero in the mid lane, but it's always a bit difficult to pick just because it's going to be into an instant hex and Netherward is going to mitigate your damage a lot. So it's not like it was going to be the perfect pick, but I think it's going to help out a lot with the control for Summit, just the tempo overall.
Just trying to think what TNC want into this. Like, is it a good Monkey King game?
Dire team back.
Potentially. It's a good tiny game. They just want that burst damage to be able to catch up to the Ember Spirit, to be able to lock him down, to be able to quickly turn around onto a clockwork and punish him if he looks to dive in super deep. I really don't hate this tiny pick right now. Not too much in lane is going to
10
punish him. Like
seconds
if you're going
remaining.
for deep dives, he can just look to get a toss back underneath a tower.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Tiny Pugner's a lane that's very difficult to go into. You got a winning matchups in mid lane as well.
Radiant team back.
Very slightly favor the Storm. Nothing crazy is what it used to be, like 40-60. I think it's more like 55-45 now, maybe even not as bad, just depending on if you have support to help out secure the water runes. But that was definitely a big thing. We saw TNC in game one. The support rotations
10
from Mavis and
seconds
Carlo
remaining.
was a big reason why they're able to accumulate a lead. And the
5
kill lead that they
seconds
have, it was like
remaining.
4 and 12 at one stage. But we saw game two, the lanes were difficult. So I think TNC have definitely made amends in that regard.
The thing I really like about
Dire
this tiny
team
is
back.
that of course it's good against the Ember Spirit aggressively, but even against the carries that are still available in the pool, it's pretty solid against most of them. Like the Terrorblade, 1-to-1, it's not, but you've got a Pugner and a Shadow Shaman, two heroes that are instantly able to clear some of those illusions. So that's going to be a really useful tool to have if
10
they do go
seconds
down that
remaining.
route. Really, I know I was mentioning Monkey King for TNC
5.
previously, but it's not a horrible Monkey King game for Summit. Again, just more of that catch for the Storm Spirit or the Shadow Shaman, that burst damage that's needed. And late game, as long as you're able to drop Wukongs, you can actually man fight a tiny and do a pretty decent job.
Team pick.
Right, last bands. Summit looking to try and get rid of some of the offlaners left with the Beast and DP, and for TNC banned out the Morphling Phantom Assassin, so the carry pool is continuing to be limited for Unknown.
Give me a monkey, man. That's all I
10
want.
seconds remaining.
I'm having a look at
5
the
seconds
hero list
remaining.
here.
Yeah, let's
Radiant
see, what do they go
team
for?
pick.
It is,
Juggernaut.
it's a good old Juggernaut. And what's
It's
with,
okay. I'm a little worried that like Storm can just zip away and Tiny's going to have plenty of armor, so Omnislash isn't actually going to be able to do anything this game.
10 seconds remaining.
Unknown does like his Jug, so if you're going to give him something that he's comfortable on,
5 seconds remaining.
definitely go down that route in a game 3 for their first series. But TNT, they have plenty of time to be able to answer this with the offlane hero for Bok. There they go. The Underlord.
You may now select your heroes.
Not a bad Underlord game. I think
It's not a bad Underlord game, but it has the potential of being a horrible laning stage,
Yeah.
is my only area of concern, right? Like, I think Summit just need to, in the first few waves, look to make sure all of the creeps are gone so that Trezam is able to connect on the battery assault onto the Underlord. He can't just run into a creep wave to get them to soak it up and then just Blade Fury every single time. Like, you should look to get one off at level 1, you should look to get one off at level 3, and then just keep putting the pressure onto Bok. It's a lot more even, this game, the draft, that's for sure. Like, games 1 and 2, I was very confident in Summit's draft. But this time around, the Juggernaut doesn't fill me with a ton of confidence. But I love the Clockwork and the Grimstroke pairing with, multiple different aspects of Summit's draft. Enabling the Ember Spirit quite heavily, preventing the enemy supports from doing anything. But this Underlord just feels like Underlord Tiny. I don't want to say they feel unkillable, but it's going to be pretty hard to be able to take him down.
Yeah,
Late
it's that's something I was going to mention. Like, do you feel like there could be a lack of damage on Summit because you're going to this atrophy, or you're going into the tanky Tiny? You've got the Netherward as well to be able to reduce a lot of the damage.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even consider that Netherwood aspect. I was thinking
Prepare
maybe you
for
might go
battle.
down like a more magic-oriented route on Unknown, kind of like what we saw from TNC in game number 1. Yoe went like Maelstrom, Skadi. He went the Blade Fury talents at level 15 and 20. He got the Aghanim shards. So like lots of ways to be able to deal magic damage into this. And against a Tiny who's going to have a crapload of armor and an Underlord that's blocking physical damage by 35%, potentially even more once he gets to level 20. I feel like those are just things that you need. You need alternative sources of damage. So maybe you go magic, but then you're up against the Pugner, and he's reducing that by 25% just by placing his Netherward. So, like, what do you do? It feels like Summit are a little bit more behind the 8 ball this game. So I'm probably going to say TNC for this one.
30 seconds to battle.
It's going to be a nice way to start, though. Trezam should be able to find the D ward, so Chris is going to make sure he denies it before Trezam able to do so. Oh,
Easy game.
no. I too am going to slightly favor TNC, but I think for Summit, the thing I'm really looking at is how they can utilize the jump potential from the Clockwork and the Ember with this Inkswell. I think they are very vulnerable in regards to the ranged heroes on TNC. And I also think this Bok lane could go a bit difficult. You always like to mention kind of the first 3 minutes of the Underlord. That's definitely the weakest stage in this lane. Is it going to continue to be the case into the Blade Fury, or will Bok be okay after that?
His level 3 should be okay, I think, but he's actually already skilled up the Atrophy Aura instead of the Firestorm, so they don't even have an easy way to quickly clear out this creep wave, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Shazam already looking to start putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I can't imagine Carlo is going to have too much fun. I mean, this is really not... I think... How do you play this lane, actually, for a Shaman? He's gone Boots first, which I really, really like. I think this is probably the best way you can do it against a Clockwork, because you are, by far, a big lane encounter, and Jug's going to be able to chase you down as well, but what is Carlo's role in this lane?
Secure range creeps and don't die, basically, is his role for the very beginning, and the Boots of Speed are going to enable him to do that. The level 1 Ether Shock's going to enable him to do that. You do have Trezam making a bit of this backstab movement, but again, this early on, it's not actually going to result in any kind of kills. It's just trying to drain a lot of that regen, but wisely enough, Carlo made sure that his first set of regen that he came out was immediately after the bounties, so he's still got 4 tangos left to play with.
Looks like for the moment, mid lane as well. Chris pretty low, but he's got bottle coming out. Mercury as well has the bottle, so nothing crazy. Again, with this matchup, I've kind of seen it multiple times now. It's going to be slightly Storm favored, but really ever so slightly. I think a lot nowadays comes down to rotations. So do you feel like TNC or Summit maybe have better ways to rotate and secure some of the runes?
Oh, Clockwork for sure has the better rotation potential. You know, prior to Ember hitting onto level 6, he's still super vulnerable. You could just make sure that you're securing the bottom rune for Krish, and then just get Trezam to deal with the top side.
So maybe they won't be able to help out the Storm Spirit too much on TNC, but is this going to secure some of their side lanes then? Like, is this a big strength for them?
I would say so. I mean, Pugna is just one of those heroes that's better at trading than a lot of other heroes. You don't need too much to have a high amount of impact. You just see here, just gets the little bit of damage in onto the Dragon Knight simply from placing down the Nether Ward just prior to a range creep needing to be secured. You've got really good attack range. You've got fast movement speed, so you're going to be able to punish out someone like this Grimstroke. I think it's really solid. Mavis, I was about to say nearly revealed that they had an Observer Ward, but he didn't actually. So it's going to be fine. Now, Trezam doing the old, if it's hard to lane, don't lane, and you really don't want to be running into any of these creep waves as a Clockwork. They're just the bane of your existence, as he can potentially get a pull happening here, while Juggernaut's still in position to be able to secure a fair few of these creeps. See the Wild Wing Ripper just giving him a little bit of a hand.
So an even start. Nothing crazy at the moment. I think Trezam, if he's able to find that second point in the battery assault, then Carlo's always going to be in a whole world of pain. And imagine the damage now a bit doubled next time Trezam finds that extra level. As soon as it expires, though, Carlo can kind of start to hit back. With the movement speed advantage, it's ever so slight at the moment. Wonder if Carlo's gonna... Do you consider a Windlace to try and deal with Trezam? He's pinging out. He wants Chris to come over. A battle
Especially
for the
with
water
the 2
rune.
points in Shackle.
Oh, who's going to get the rune? Carlo looks like he picks it up, but instantly with the battery assault, gets rid of the Shackle's opportunity. Now, Susie YB on the high ground. Mavis as well shown up to the party. A couple more right clicks, but Mavis hesitant about diving under the tower. Meanwhile, Trezam's still getting chased. Carlo has got another Shackles back up. It's 2 points in the Shackles as well, so Krish can close the distance, pump in the damage of the Storm Spirit, and find his first blood.
It's just on the back of a lot of these lanes being so much simpler for them this time around, right? Like, they haven't punished the Underlord, so he's already got a 300 net worth advantage. I think Unknown finally starts to get a spin on, but it doesn't actually impact Box survivability at all. He's just gone a tanky build. Couple of braces, doesn't need to worry about right-click trades all that much, just because he's got the, what is that, like 40 right-click damage advantage. It's pretty significant.
Good lane, Krish. Yo. It's quite close.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Zachary nearly gave up first blood himself previously as well. He was using Sleight of Fist around a Nether Ward and nearly ended up dying, so it's just one of those things that you need to be very careful about when you're playing this Ember that wants to constantly be spamming abilities.
It's definitely look like the lanes. The X factor here for the lads onto TNC. We've seen they secured the side lanes. Now the rotation's starting to come out from the supports. They've done a very good job, especially with that past water rune timing. See what the job's going to be for Mavis. Kind of posturing back and forth around bottom. Just trying to help scout out for Yolway. Drops a nice defensive ward down by the secret shop. This is also just going to scout out if anyone's moving back to make some stacks. Mid lane. Might be eyeing up the Ember off Mercury. Doesn't see Carlo's position. It's got to be cautious. They're going to be baiting Krish at the moment, but yet Krish, he doesn't have the level 6. In goes the Ember Spirit, but maybe he's overplayed his hand. As in the end, Krish finds another kill, and this is very reminiscent of our game 1.
It is for sure, and I mean, they dropped a couple of sentry wards in that mid lane just to make sure that there wasn't the potential for the supports to be able to make a rotation, but it was on the left side of the map, and that's not where he was making his movement to on the Ember Spirit, so it meant that he was completely away from all the information that his supports had provided him, and ended up dropping, giving over a valuable kill. Now Krish has that level 6, and he's able to accelerate his farm.
And what are we expecting out of Summit? Can they make a move with this Elder Dragon form that's soon to be picked up on Crush?
Now I'm starting to get confused between Crush and Krish.
Yeah.
I think maybe they can. I mean, anytime that you've got a Juggernaut, you always have potential of grouping up and going, right? Healing Ward is such a powerful ability at enabling you to do that. I feel like they just need pickoffs, and right now they're not getting them. You know, Crush is looking to put a little bit of harass onto Yoe, but he's level 6. He's got 1 point in the grow. He's got 10 armor now, so you're not going to be able to completely harass him out.
Well, nice read at least for Summit. They do deward the kind of cliff by the secret shot. They were starting to make a rotation top with the 2 support to try and bring down Bok on the Underlord. Not going to be the case, but it does reveal the ward placement. Setting up for bottom. Let's see. Oh, Crush popped Elder Dragon. Looks like just a farming ulti. Should have the magic damage to go through him. He's pretty close to the tier 1 tower, but the rotations can come through. Double bracer with the wand. He's actually more tanky than I was expecting. If anyone came earlier, who knows the turnaround potential, as Krish was falling low, Yoe at half health as well, but it was just Mercury that showed up.
Yeah, CTY unfortunately didn't have the TP available for himself. Maybe if he makes the rotation, he's able to get the Ink Swell onto someone, discourage them from going in, but again, like it's these like second differences. Honestly, that's how close Dota is these days. The average gameplay is just so much better across the board that 1 second can make a huge difference.
For TNC, what a start for them. Only 3 kills, nothing crazy, but all the cores farming very well positioned. All in the top 3. You got the Underlord just freely farming tops. Going to be the Atos first item for him. Meanwhile, Yoe...
And they're the ones playing for the late game, right? That's the thing. Like, they're happy for it to go late. Pugner's going to have more levels. Underlord's going to have more levels. You've got percentage-based damage on Underlord himself. You've got a Tiny. This is exactly what TNC want.
And really, one thing... Hold that thought. Mercury... You're right. One thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that TNC can just do this. They just chuck Bok down bottom in the lane that the DK's in. They know he TP'd back down, so Crush is kind of stuck here with this Elder Dragon form, and Bok would just shove out the wave, and if Crush wants to get aggressive, then he's eating almost a maxed out Firestorm. So I'm kind of surprised they're actually not playing down to bottom, maybe trying to get a pick-off on Unknown, but he's out of the lane.
Dire's middle tower is
Yeah, I think the pick-off strategy is fine, as long as their mindset is, okay, everyone needs to make sure they've got a TP. Right now, Krish doesn't. So if they needed to make any kind of defensive rotation, if they go for a dive, he's not quite in the position to be able to do so. Courier's coming out with one now, but it's still 30 seconds away.
This is important for Bok. He's just making himself hard to kill. Putting himself in the tree line, where if the dive does come out, it's going to give them plenty of time to force these reactions. So maybe they're going to go for the trade here. Again, TNC. Okay, Carlo does have the level 6. He just found the ultimate available. And they've only got 1 point in the Nether Blast. So this will not be enough to secure the tower. So yep, Surf One's dropped in exchange for tier 1s.
Yep, I think you're very happy with this if you're TNC. You know, support ultimates aren't going to do that much at this stage of the game outside of objectives. So Carlo, very, very satisfied with that one. He can even look to soak up this next wave as well. Just valuable farm for a Shadow Shaman, bringing him closer and closer to some of those key timings like the Blink Dagger. It's still, of course, very important to have that to be able to get the initial lockdown in onto Mercury.
So you were mentioning before that...
Jug.
You were mentioning before that TNT are happy with the status quo of this game. Like, they want to be going late game. You feel like they have a lineup that should be able to thrive at the later stages, his third game. So what are we looking for Summit early in regards to timings to be able to kind of change the status quo and really hit back?
Honestly, good question, because the reality of the situation is Trezam didn't get anywhere near as much, not farm, but like didn't have as much impact as I'm sure he would have been wanting out of the laning stage. He's not level 6 yet at 11 minutes. He doesn't have boots of speed. He's just got the Windlace to be able to play around with, so it's not even easy to like chase a Pugner. Pugner's already very fast, and he's got the boots of speed as well on top of that. Same sort of thing with the Shadow Shaman, so I don't know, like that. It feels to me like they need to get the level 6 on their supports. Like CZY is still barely level 5 now when he's securing this range creep. So maybe make a play around that and get a pick off onto Dorm, I guess. He's the main tempo maker and probably the only one that you can kill at this stage.
Where'd the tome go on Dire? Did you see? They still got one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think the 6s is what they're looking for, in particular Clockwork, which he's got completed now, so you can hook into level 3 into Inkswell, Trezam's in a very good position to be able to pop the smoke. This is a great read from the clock.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, no, standing by. Oh, poor Crush.
Never refuse
It'll be Carlo that has to enter. It is daytime, but can always pogo stick on forward. And Krish gonna look to rotate down as well to offer the damage required. He's targeting Trezam at the moment. Hook shot into the middle, trapped with him inside with the cogs, but Carlo, a Serpent Ward's on top of the stand line. Unknown's gonna walk up as well. They're bringing their numbers to take the fight on Summit, but Unknown, he's got to respect the damage coming through for the Undy. But Buck doesn't get the kill. So in the end, a 2-for-1. Even Yellowway feeling the importance of the fight.
It was a really good play by Trezam to try and interrupt that, right? Like, he got the battery assault onto the Storm Spirit, he got the hook shot onto the Shaman, who was channeling the Shackles, and he enables at least one of his heroes to get away. Like, you couldn't ask for too much more of him there, but it's just TNC, their laning stage went too damn well. They were able to get a lot more out of it than they have in games 1 and 2, and they're taking advantage of it, hitting their timings and making the movements around that accordingly.
It's going to be a big window now as well. Atos completed on the Underlord. God, tanky is 1700 health. That's not even taking into consideration the effective health that he's going to be playing with. Atrophy, damage mitigation, maxed out Nether Ward as well. And pre-BKB on Mercury's really got to be cautious about the chain control. I think the only way he really keeps his live in these fights is from what we saw in that past skirmish, is Trezam kind of disrupting the backline.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's at this period of the game. This is like SMG-like, where they give a lot of space over to the position 4 when they've got the freedom to do so. Early game went very well. They do it for Afu on SMG. Carlo this time around was given 2 full creep waves on the bottom side.
Gonna be caught out in the river. There we go. Hookshot with the Inkswell combination, but the damage, again, it's lacking when the Nether Ward is dropped. A long zip hit from Krish. They will be able to secure the first. Onto the second they go. Krish is not going to have too much mana to work with, but... Like how did they not kill Mavis? I don't know, man. This Pugna here is just absolutely crazy.
It was all Carlo.
Now they're onto the Ember as well. Atos to set up. Carlo is able to enter the fight. The chain control is perfect, but the answer's going to come through. The blink reveal from Crush. Unknown showing up as well. Will slightly rectify the fight. I mean, you get your second kill of the game in regards to Summit. It's only on a support, and you do lose your position too.
It was on Unknown, at least, that got the kill, which is kind of nice. I do like the fact that he's going into the Maelstrom as opposed to Battle Fury. Of course, the issue that I mentioned before with going against a Tiny, you can't make it all physical damage. He's just going to soak up every little bit of that. So at least you're going to have some magic damage component that allows you to get active a bit earlier on. I was saying before, again, Carlo had a really great team fight. He has the Tumbler's Toy, and the reason they weren't able to kill Mavis is that he just Tumbler's Toyed forward, got the Shackle and the full Hex onto the Ember Spirit, even prior to him picking up the Illusion Runes, so Kish was able to claim that one. So he was a big reason why the damage just wasn't there for Summit. You hate to see a DK lineup that's only taken 1 tower at the 15.5-minute mark as well.
TNC are going to look to play around mid. They get the D-Ward on the high ground. Into the Dragon Knight they go. Trezam's going to try and counter-initiate. The Soulbind is out disrupting the backline, but it looks like it's not going to do enough. Crush still is killed off. And the Serpent Ward's pummeling to the tower.
Making sure to micro those specifically so that they're not just uselessly hitting in onto a creep wave. It's really the damage from the Firestorm at this point, though, right? Like a DK.
Mercury? Krish is playing with an Arcane Brew. Once again, the chain control. Atos to start, Pit to follow, Carlo with the Hex. This goddamn pogo stick on some heroes, it looks really busted, and while Shaman is one of them, especially with the early Aether Lens.
Yeah, he actually switched up, went into the Aether Lens instead of the Blink Dagger. He's just feeling ready to skirmish right now. The rest of the team are all on the same page. He's going to go Tranquil Boots, Magic Wands, just Clarities. Just say, you know what, I don't actually need a Blink Dagger. The rest of my team have really got my back.
Early BKB timing from Krish, 16 minutes in. By the outpost. Alright, they're going to get another kill. Maybe chain this in, but I think they're lacking the control for Krish. Won't be required to pop the BKB. So you'll take Mavis, 263 gold given over to Trezam. Man, Yahweh is... I'm honestly quite surprised that he's not much further ahead of the Juggernaut's network. This has to be big props over to Unknown and his farming patterns.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think Unknown's done a really good job of being able to keep up. He's showed up at fights at the right time. Just being able to claim those easy kills. It's exactly what you want at this stage.
I'm just watching Carlos still work out with his pogo stick. If they get another pick-off, shortly you're going to consider Roche. I'm surprised they're pinging it out now with Serpent Wards. Well, I guess you can start and then pop it down afterwards.
It's a tiny, man. It's a tiny with Moon Shard, Aghanim Shard at this stage. You probably don't even need to drop these. You will. You'll ward trap Krish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's just block Christian. It's okay. So, do you give the Aegis to Yahweh or do you give it to Krish?
I feel like you give it to Krish. Oh, never mind, actually. They're going to go in deep. I mean, the reason I want to give it over to him is just because I feel like they do have the catch if he goes in super deep. I suppose he's got the BKB, though. I don't know. Like, it feels like they do have that chain lockdown potential, and he's going to need to continuously play to disrupt the clockwork in particular, because he's the one that's going to be making life a lot more challenging for Carlo as well as Mavis, and it really feels like they've been the ones putting in work so far. Tiny, I don't see how he dies. Like, he's level 15, he's got the status resistance talent, he's got 2 points in grow. Like, what are you really realistically going to do against him? He's even got a Blink Dagger coming out now, so he's going to be an aggressive menace.
And what about Unknown? Like, we mentioned that he's farming really well, but what are we looking for in regards to items for him to feel comfortable with showing up to a lot more team fights?
Well, he's going this Aghanim Shard build again, which I like, but he actually went for the Healing Ward cooldown instead of the Blade Fury duration at level 15.
Mid lane, Bok. He's taking a lot of damage to start. Unexpected burst potential. The life drain's not going to be enough to keep him alive, so a 1-for-1 to start as Mercury deals with Mavis on the back line, but you have to respect Yahweh and the damage coming through from the Tiny. Unknown protected for the moment, but Summit... They're going to look to try and retreat out. What's going on in the back line? Hang on a second, Carlo? Clockwork's incredibly deep, trying to a 1v1 of fellow support. Trezam and Carlo both limp away. They even get the first life. Summit somehow doing the help of the double damage rune and they get a tier 1 tower. But that's a huge sequence of events for Summit.
Honestly, not sure how that happens. I mean, Krish is going to go for the easy kill, punish the fact that they've got the ward out there, and eventually it'll get dewarded. But I just had a look at the fight recap. A lot of it is DK based. I don't feel like that captures the full scope of the fight, though. I think Grimstroke actually ended up doing a lot, just what I saw from the death summary there on to the Underlords. So again, it's just going to be all magical damage. So it was very important that they were able to secure that kill. Obviously, the first one that they were able to claim over onto Bok, pretty good. But it's going to be much less of a factor once he's got that BKB available. And he's only 100 or so gold away.
Signs of life, though, for Summit. By far, I mean, you lose his Aegis advantage now, showing that TNC can definitely bleed. It's only 1,000 net worth lead. And they are continuing to find these items, but it's going to be TNC trying to hit back.
They're going for one of these ganks in the style of like what you have with a Nature's Prophet, right? Underlord can join a fight at any time. He's got the BKB coming out to him now.
They got to go now.
Make sure he gets that as quickly as he can.
They got to go now. They're going to do so. Just waiting for him to step over the mark. The pogo into the instant hex. Mercury gets out though. They didn't want to try and control him off the back of the shackles, and now Dire, they've entered the fight. Crush is falling lower and lower. Protected for the decrypt. That is beautiful from Mavis. And Dire, they got to get out. Summit, you cannot stick around now for the longer drawn out fight. Giving the mana back to Krish. Long zip on the high ground. Utilizing the arcane root, but he's going to get penalized for it. Entering Summit's territory. Now Mercury wants to hit back onto another support as Carlo. Easy pickings. Box the next on the Engenderer. BKB TPR will be successful, but yeah, you mentioned it. That is deep, and Krish, a costly mistake.
A big part of your strength of team fight is the fact that you're around this Underlord and Pugner that have the damage reduction, and he just went, see ya, I'm not going to be part of this at all. And, you know, you might have the Arcane Root, but he'd previously used the BKB, so he didn't even have any kind of defensive tool for himself to be able to play with. So just getting a little bit eager on Krish. It's understandable. He's a young guy. He's feeling excited about playing well with TNC, but needs to be a lot more measured with the style of aggression that he has.
And it's off.
They were kind of in two minds as well about whether they actually wanted to go in onto Mercury at that time, because Bok, he only got his BKB delivered mid-fight.
Hot lane, they're setting up on Crush. Yoa and Mavis combined together. Crush gonna hold back the Tiny and maybe just trying to force reactions, which they will do so in regards to 2 TPs. Our bottom
Arlo
lane.
actually not going to get the Blink Dagger at all. Dual Force Staffs set to come out shortly-ish for the TNC supports. Very value, of course, against a Clockwork. Even just to be able to keep that space away from a Grimstroke, Force Staff into a neutral camp to maybe tank up a few of those Omni Slash hits. Very versatile item.
Yeah.
Unknown just continues to farm well. He's level 19. He's top of the net worth against a Tiny that got a very early Ag Shard as well as Moon Shard. So, yeah, doing a very nice job is Unknown.
Yeah, really would not have expected him to be a high net worth in the Tiny. I mean, this hero, yes, you've been nerfed, but like, you don't farm really fast. It's honestly quite dumb to see. So, we said in the draft, the Unknown is very comfortable in the Juggernaut. He's going to be closing in onto that 20 talent shortly, but the smoke to bottom won't get them a kill. It looks like it will secure the tier 2 tower, though.
10 seconds left on Dire's Glyph, but you're up against a Tiny that's able to melt through this tower pretty damn fast. There we go. So, even trade. You'd have to say TNC, again, are the happier ones with that trade, of course. It opens up the Roche Pit so much further. You're able to claim the outpost around that. Really, the next objective for them is going to be around that tier 2, perhaps in the mid lane, just to make sure any buybacks are almost entirely useless out of Summit Gaming.
Now, how does an ideal fight look in regards to Summit?
If they're able to somehow burst down the Pugner, that's going to be priority number 1 in my eyes. Like, don't let him get the Nether Ward down. Even if you do, if you're right on top of it, Juggernaut's pretty fast attack speed. He's got the Aghanim Shards, so he can look to right-click it during a Blade Fury. And then go from there, basically. Look to converge, take out a lot of heroes that suddenly become much more squishy when you don't have that layer of protection with the Decrep, with the Nether Ward for the damage reduction.
It's definitely going to help out with their bursts and ways to deal with the backline with Mercury having this Aghanim Sound. Even got the Arcane in the bottle. See how they're able to utilize this. Of course, we do have to mention, though, that 25 minutes in, so Krish is going to have the extra bonus coming through from the Nulls, and they're going to smoke as soon as that minute mark hits.
Yeah, immediately. He will reveal the smoke, though, so it's just the rest of his team doing that, but they're going to have an understanding that he's got this Aghanim Scepter online for Krish as well.
Carlo, nice wall. It sees Unknown. Not the easiest target, so Yo is going to jump in the lane instead. Hookshot. Disrupting the combo, but Krish wants to deal with the backline. Stun is out initially. Where's the decrypt to be able to protect Krish? He's able to get out. A zip at the last second, enough to protect him. Summit, do you retreat?
BKBs used, though. Yeah, TNC used all 3 BKBs. They have to get out. Their potential for magic damage is still fairly high on Summit's side, so they're going to rinse and repeat, be happy that they were able to at least survive on their heroes and force a buyback. If they can... So TNC's strategy, essentially, for the next couple of minutes or so, is look for when Roshan is up. You might not be able to claim it instantly, but if you're able to get a Grimstroke pick-off into Roshan, that's going to be the ideal output, because you now know that he doesn't have buyback. So expect to see CZY just be playing underneath this Shadow Amulet for quite some time and be playing with the rest of his team. He can't afford to go that greedier route anymore, where he's shoving out lanes with his Stroke of Fate.
We do have Unknown 21. It's gone for the extra Blade Fury damage. No real surprises. Tiny with the bonus grow as well. So He's started to do a lot of damage. Your way, Crystallis now completed. It's a very, very even game 3. Not a lot in between these two teams.
I have to wonder what he's going to go on Jog after this BKB for himself. Not super often that you see Jugs go that build, but maybe just wanting to protect against the Decrep when he's outside of the Blade Fury. Wouldn't hate to see him go on Nullifier after this, that's for sure.
I am not sure if there was... Okay. I'm not sure that... Oh, there was a ward place mid that I think clipped out the smoke on TNC. No one pinged on Summit, which... Not 100% certain if they saw it or not, but they are starting to clump up to Unknown. Oh, he's running away from the team. No, don't go for this Unknown.
Oh, the spin.
They fight. The rest of the team's coming. Spins on cooldown. Rammed into the middle. Instantly, Mercury's going to try and deal with the backup. It's of the Juggernaut's in trouble. The double vortex and all the cleave damage. Unknown, though. Still alive. The healing ward will keep the Juggernaut healthy. Now, he might be able to go back in afterwards. Once again, TNC expending a lot to start the fight. Meanwhile, the backline has been ripped apart, but they still got to be cautious as Your Way gets the chain control. But the Ember's going to buy back. A lot of importance on Summit to turn this fight around. But look at the hesitancy. A Pit and Bok is out thanks to the Fiend's Gate, and now the buyback on Ember gets him absolutely nothing.
Oof. Not what you want to see. It was a really good double initiation there with the Vortex, but yeah, unfortunately not able to clean up the healing ward was Krish. That ended up allowing the Juggernaut to survive, and it would have been such a huge pickoff considering Roshan is up, and he didn't have buyback, having bought out that BKB recipe just prior. So still giving him an avenue to potentially contest this next Roshan as a result of that. Unknown TPing to the top side, getting the easier, quicker farm. That'll give him the BKB, and that'll give him the potential to contest this Rosh.
I think that kill should just be Rosh now, though. Let's see. No Serpent Ward, so... you worried about that? Firestorm does a lot. Same with Tiny.
I think you're pretty capable of taking this one down, but...
Hesitant.
They're going to think better of it. You can't wait 40 seconds. Like, this is your window. You've got complete vision around the area. You've got outpost control. They don't have tier 2 tower to TP2. There's no buyback. Krish.
They're coming.
Hesitated.
They're going to get there before Roche falls. Once again, ran inside the pit. They were able to bring down the Underlord at the start of the fight. And now Krish doesn't have mana as well. This is a really good scenario. They're going to Omni Slash Roshan. Unknown even pops BKB forward as well. It's going to be able to snatch the Aegis. Your Way now needs to TP out. They won't have a way to counter that. Wow, what a big sequence of events for the lads on Summit. You get the Aegis and the Aghanim Shard as well on Unknown.
That's some serious hate towards Roshan as well. Popping the Omni Slash just to be able to take him down, but clearly they just realized they had this tiny window to be able to make any kind of plays happen, and well, there was the value of the BKB as well on Unknown, just allowing him to be that little bit more ballsy.
And you'd hate for Roche to have Lincolns at that stage. Obviously, he's either saw it get popped or just made the call like it's worth it, but... Who do you give the shard to?
Shazam. He's the only one that doesn't have it.
Okay, there you go. Makes sense. Let's
but
go.
Jetpack's nice. Vision. It gives a good amount of vision.
That's important. Now you can see Mavis easier. Now you can see Carlo easier. Because, I mean, we've been stressing it for the entirety of this game. These supports have to die first on TNC. And Vision is the first way to set that up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Krish, she's gone full Null Talisman now. Forget the bottle, forget the wand, forget anything. Just give me the Null Tallies. Let me dive deep onto the backlines. He's really hoping for that level 20 talent just to be able to enable that Aghanim Scepter even further. Honestly, wouldn't even hate him going the Blessing into another Null Tally.
Smoke dump on Summit. Not going to get anything out of this, unfortunately. I'm going to scout out if anyone's playing around the triangle. Mercury again has another Arcane Rune with level 20 as well. So he's going to start dealing a ridiculous amount of DPS.
I'm trying to think what Bok actually needs this game. Like, he's gone the Basher and he's building up into the Abyssal Blade. the best avenue to go down? I mean, it's going to be nice, of course, to be able to maybe get the lucky bash onto the Ember Spirit and to be able to disrupt those spin TPs away that Unknown's had a couple of times, but I don't know, it feels like he is still fairly squishy, even with, of course, all of his tankiness, just being an Underlord, being a strength hero, having the Atrophy aura. Doesn't feel incredibly survivable, but I guess the Vanguard component of the Abyssal Blade will help a little bit with that.
And one thing we haven't mentioned a lot this game is kind of Crush, the counterpart of Fleena. DK's almost got a Helbert completed. He's doing relatively well with his farm, taking over the Underlord in net worth, and I imagine we'll go Scepter next item, so Crush will definitely scale well into the late game.
Yep, level 20 shortly too, so that's going to be a nice little added bonus. What is this cosmetic, though, on the DK? It looks like some kind of Power Ranger villain.
Yeah, no, it's atrocious. I don't know. Like, I can only deal with the Persona so much, but even then I kind of prefer it. Ooh, it's a long zip. It's a good old storm shirt. What I hear.
What Null Talismans do for you.
Oh my god.
And the Fairies Trinket.
top tower has fallen.
Very important, of course, when you're in this situation where you're coming up against the Aegis. It's only got a minute and a half left on it, but just in case you get caught out on the Storm Spirit, you want that buyback potential. Level 20, so he's got the extra duration on the AoE Electric Vortex, which is going to be a great tool. It's like they'll be able to withstand the Aegis as well. So nice defense coming through from TNC.
We rely not upon fortune.
You do lose all your outer towers, and I don't think Summit were really in a position to be able to push high ground. So it's more like, I think the fact that they even stole the Aegis in the first place, like now they're in the driver's seat. Oh, would you say they're even in the driver's seat? 2,000 net worth lead? Like, it's really nothing in at 33 minutes in.
I still have faith in TNC's draft. I just don't think this Juggernaut is going to stack up quite as much against the Jug. You've still got the Decrep to be able to deal with the Omni Slash. Magic damage can only take you so far, especially considering he didn't talent into it at level 15. I don't know, there's just different aspects that I don't like. Dota Plus doesn't agree with me, but I'm allowed my opinion.
Oh, that was way too close from Crush. Alright, I'm always like, I love my voice lines. I love the good tip as well. I mean, there's some perfect timings for voice lines, for tips. That was definitely one of them.
It's good to see that, you know, he's still feeling pretty confident on Krish as well. You don't want him to get overawed by the situation, of course.
He's 8-1-8.
Put his best foot forward.
He's got to be feeling happy. Come on, this man, young, ego-driven position 2. I'm making assumptions, and he's got to be feeling happy. He's playing on TNC.
Absolutely.
Smoke up.
All that history there.
Leading the charge. Summit, they're not grouped at the moment. So Yoe's going to be able to run into the Clockwork. Easy pickings. The 1-2 punch from the Tiny. This should now give them an opportunity to really get outside the base and maybe de-ward the area. Is there a gem? Anyone got a gem? No gems.
Don't think so. So no gems as yet. Pugner really looking to save for that Wraith Pact. So again, just more stuff that's going to make you incredibly hard to kill is always going to be a good thing. And well, he's getting a lot closer to it. Even honestly, just having the Vlads when you've got a Tiny on your team. Wait, has it happened? Has it finally happened?
I don't know. What are we saying?
No, okay. I was about to say, a Tiny game where Titan Sliver doesn't drop, it's dropped, but Underlord is holding it. Why? What? I want to know why.
Yeah, well...
Krish really going for the backlines.
Onto the Jug. CZY's nearby, can give him the defensive Inkswell if need be, and even a BKB. I'm not sure if it was 7 seconds. Regardless, it's not the worst. Oh, there's a DD. Don't let him get it. Oh, you're gonna let Mercury get it. Do they have the damage with just these heroes? Yoe standing the wings, waiting for an opportunity to pounce, but now with the backline, you gotta be cautious. You group up because Mercury jumps to Pugner. Now he's gonna be on Takalo as well. Meanwhile, in the river, Buck just gets ripped apart as TNC overstep the boundary. Summit show up in big fashion. and find 3 heroes with their pants down.
It just feels like they're not all on the same page. You know, Krish went in, he pops the BKB, he's like, all right, guys, we got to get out. And they just don't. They don't all get out. They stay camping around that rune. It's a DD rune, of course, so it's going to be a high priority, but you had a period where you could have actually got the shackles in onto that Ember Spirit, and they just chose not to. They had 2 people committing, 1 person not, and, I mean, that's the result. You got to be playing together as a team. That's what separates pro Dota from pubs. Level 25 now as well on old mate Yugger.
What? Did you call him Yugger?
Of course I did.
Did he buy a wand?
Leveler.
No. Okay. I was going to say, no way Shazam finds his hook. Off the mark with the blind hook, unfortunately. Bottom lane, they do see Mercury with this Tinker Ward. TPI'd, I do not believe they're in a position to cancel that.
Quick-ish Roche respawn, just the 1 minute. So really that's going to be Summit's priority for the next minute or so. Just making sure they've got all this vision around the vicinity to be able to protect the stairs up onto the high ground, and then just enabling them to walk on into it. They don't have the fastest Roche taking lineup though.
Oh, they're going to smoke it into the high ground, but look at Unknown's position. CZY as well. Prime spot to spring the trap, and TNC no better.
It's gotten to the stage where you don't want supports to be tanking the smoke ganks anymore, especially around these potential Roche timings, right? You need them. You need every single hero as part of these, so you just put your tankiest hero on the front lines. For Summit right now, it's the Juggernaut. He's level 25 with the extra health. He's got the BKB on top of things. Like, he's the one. You got to play around Unknown. I was speaking about in game number 1, you know, how TNC were potentially able to come back from that. And it did feel like it was on the back of some late game decision making and shot calling coming out from the likes of Mavis. This time around, I would be very surprised if Unknown isn't the one.
This is huge, Crush. He's going to jump there, all grouped up under the wall. Look at the forward hook shot as well. Running into Bok. Unknown's going to be able to join the fight, but the Tiny's getting ripped apart. He's trying to stand his ground on Your Way, but is the damage really going to be enough to turn the fight? It looks like it's not. A Summit. Vision once again winning games as Mercury's hunting Mavis now. Change the hold back the retreat, but the rest of Summit, well, they want bigger and better things. Onto Roche they go, and that was all set up because the Observer Ward raided. They placed their sentry down in the middle of the lane. It wasn't able to clip both the Observer Wards on either side of this, and just Summit executing with the vision advantage.
Yeah, another one of those heroes that you can throw at the very start of the team fights is the Dragon Knight, right? He's got the Heaven's Halberd, he had the cover of the Ninja gear for the smoke aspect, popping the BKB super early, and Shazam's been on point with the hook shots as well, just completely cutting the supports away from having an impact in a lot of these team fights. And now with the gem, just cleaning things out. Swift Slash available on the Juggernaut as well, in the Aghanim's Blessing form. So he's going to be looking to spam that one out off cooldown just to quickly shove in lanes and take advantage of this time that the Tiny's not available. DD top as well.
Leaving Glyph the Wave. Even pop an A on disc on CZY.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Does Jug have Abyssal? I believe he does.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Alright. No damage because of healing one. Cool, cool. These Tiny's going to be up surely. They will not lose their full set of barracks. But Crush has Scepter now. Of course, you gave Unknown the Scepter. Cheese on Ember. 19,000 net worth leave. They got a double damage rune as well. And again, Dire, they have the vision advantage. So they might be able to haul up once again around the triangle to take the fight. As Your Way charging in blind. He doesn't see anyone on Summit. You'd hate to force out an early BKB, but he's going to be put in that position to do so. Mercury just tearing apart the backline one by one. He's out of mana. Now with the damage, Your Way starting to pump in, but it will not matter. Cheese out at the last second. Your Way's gone. Box the next to fall as well by the tier 3 tower. It's Summit. They're doing it. They're taking the fight. TNC, they don't have the answers right now.
Yeah, and they have the buybacks, but they just retreat as a team. Level 25 on the Dragon Knight, just so tanky. Of course, in that Elder Dragon form, able to walk over the cliffs. And, oh man, 30k behind. This is TNC we're talking about, and they could be about to lose the first game of the series. Well, it's first series of the season, rather.
4 buybacks expended. So
Radiant's middle barracks
you
are
cannot
under
make a mistake on this last fight. Still got ages
Rich
as
wants
well.
to zip
Radiant's
through.
middle barracks
He wants to
has
zip
fallen.
through this just to be able to quickly clean up the lanes,
Radiant's
make it
bottom
so that you
tower
enable
is
that
under
backdoor
attack.
protection. Mid lane's the one. I mean, bot and top are shoved in pretty heavily. Krish needs to make a play around that, but he doesn't feel safe until he's got the BKB available. He even sold an Ult Talisman just so that he can have this refresher coming back to him now.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Meanwhile, your buildings are
Radiant's
falling.
bottom barracks are
Need to be an
under
anthem. They're sending the Wraith pack in to try and help out slightly, but he's got a refresh up. Jump into the middle, seeing if he can catch down any of the supports, but they are super split on Summit, making sure there is no crazy combo potential to turn this game around.
has fallen.
BKB used, refresher used as well on the Storm Spirit.
Somehow,
They're coming through on the jug as well. Just more stuff to be able to catch out these backlines or people without BKB.
I don't know how they're going to do it on TNC, but somehow you need to jump the jug and force Summit to group up. The supports need to reveal themselves to protect the jug, because they're not clumping up on the backline. You're always hunting. Avatos finds one support. Krish gonna try and deal with the other as well. There's the combo. Enough, get rid of the clockwork. But now Yowe's outside the base, and with the leash combining 2 heroes together, that's a dieback on Yowe. Now the hook shot back in onto Carlo, and they're gonna call it quits as the open qualifier team taking TNC down 2-1.
Dire victory.
Oh boy! Enjoy your points, Summit betters, because I feel like you would be outnumbered pretty heavily by the TNC fans, and really respectable performance coming through from them. I was a little concerned with some of the decision making that we saw from them at times in games 1 and 2, but this time around, particularly Unknown. He has to be the MVP of the series for mine. Just always seemed to get that farm, even when you weren't having as comfortable of a laning stage. He just found a way to be able to keep up with this Tiny. Imagine that.
Yeah, I am quite surprised at how he was able to still find his farm across the map. And I also think we just saw Summit like take really, really good fights. Their execution was there. That was something that we were definitely mentioning off the back of game 1, that late game execution was something that just wasn't kind of showing early on. But game 2, they steamrolled TNC. Like, there was no competition in game 2. Game 3, the lanes looked grim early. Then we saw them, and vision and the ways they were able to initiate fights. Summit, that's a really impressive showing for me. I'm very... the fact that they're able to beat TNC in the fashion that they did as well, it has to give them so much confidence now.
Yeah. Mercury's damage was kind of nutty as well. I'm just having a look through the breakdowns of damage and see who the main target was a lot of the time. And for him, it was very clear. It was the supports. He was taking care of them every single time so that the Juggernaut didn't have to. Jug did less than 300 damage to Pugna because Mercury was doing such a good job of focusing him down, meant that Juggernaut was able to do things like focus in all that magic damage onto the Underlord, Omni-slash him in an isolated position, provided that you get the Searing Chains onto the Pugna and he doesn't have the freedom to just get that Decrep life drain off. I think it kind of in a different way to what we saw in games 1 and 2. This was Summit out executing TNC. So to see an open qualifier team have this level of growth in just within a series, imagine what they could potentially accomplish throughout the entire season.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy to see the growth for them as well. And again, we were speaking a lot about kind of the fairy tale really is that make the open qualifier run, take Division 2 by storm, and then be promoted to Division 1. Of course, that's exactly what we saw RSG do. And this is really similar in a way. Of course, I guess RSG only dropped 1 game, but just the fact that you're able to come in such dominant fashion as well in multiple games. So big
This
props
could
to
be their
Summit.
one game.
Yeah.
This could be their one game that they
could
dropped the entire time. Of course, we keep mentioning that, of course, it's important for being in the upper bracket for the regional qualifiers just prior to TI. But even for next DPC season, right? You'll be in Division 1 for that if you're able to claim one of those top two spots. So there's a lot for these teams to play for, that's for sure. But today it was TNC just falling a little bit short.
It's definitely it's early to be speaking about the promotion, everything like that. But for Summit, the fact that they're even in the position, I mean, really impressed with them. And we do get to have an interview as well. So we're going to be bringing Unknown in, the carry player. Unknown, hello, you there? Can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello. Perfect. Okay. Well, firstly, I just want to. What are the emotions going through from you and also the lads on Summit?
It's pretty happy. Pretty exciting. Yeah.
Well,
Sure. I mean, I want to ask you, going up against, we saw at the Stockholm Major, the big thing that felt like was winning teams' games was damage reduction. And you were going up against a Pugna with Netherward, a Wraith Pact, and an Underlord with Atrophy Aura. How did you guys, like, did you address that as a team of how you're going to deal with it? And if so, how?
I think we just play as usual and we communicate well. So yeah, everything goes well. Yeah.
What's the main part of that comms? Is it like target prioritization or where to take fights or when to take fights? Give us a little bit of insight.
Yeah. Yeah. Our main target is the supporter firstly. Yeah. And we must kill the partner and shaman first. This is our plan to win the team fight. Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah.
what?
You got anything, Aries?
Yeah, I was just kind of. What was your team kind of considering heading into Game 3? Because we saw you personally have two exceptional Medusa performances, and heading into Game 3, were you expecting them to ban it? Was it something that you were considering first phasing?
I think the hero pick is five of us deciding together and see which hero fit to each other. Yeah,
Okay.
think it's very natural one. Our hero pick and yeah,
Hmm.
what we should play is depending on the layout. Yeah.
With we were also quite surprised at how well you were able to keep up in farm on the Juggernaut with a tiny. Is that something that you expect yourself to be able to do, or do you feel like you were just playing really well this game? Because we were really impressed.
I think that my teammates are playing very good for me and a lot space for me. So I just keep farming and they say, don't worry, you just farm and carry us.
Nice, nice. Well, you definitely did do that. And I mean, moving forward, obviously, this is a great way to start out the season. Is there any team in particular that you're looking to play up against? Maybe Atlantis, your Malaysian brothers, or is it something else?
um, think Neon.
Neon, yeah.
Also, yeah, I think Neon and yeah, I think I was not sure, so we just try our best to deal with any other team. Yeah.
Are there any stories there with Neon? Like any beef, anything spicy, or is it just you think they're a good team and you want to play against them?
I think we wish to play with any team. They all are good team. So yeah, and we fight Neon a lot times before in other tournaments. So yeah, we hope we can fight them again. Yeah.
Sounds good.
There we go. Unknown, any shout outs or any thank yous you want to give before we let you go?
Mm, And thanks for watching, and we will do our best in the next series. Yeah. See you
Perfect.
Do you
guys.
stream? Do you have a social media? Can people follow you somewhere?
No.
Okay.
I'm just an unknown. Yeah. Nobody
Ah,
know me. Okay.
very good, very good. Hopefully not by the end of the season. Hopefully your name's on everyone's lips, and that would be a great story. So congratulations again, and we'll let you go.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Unknown. Thank you very much. Well, there you go. Danog, the first series of the DPC for Southeast Asia is going to end in a 2-1 victory for Summit Gaming, the open qualified team. And for the lads on TNC, that organization is continuing to have some difficulties, but it is very early on in the season. Still, it has to be said that there's a lot of tough opponents. Like we were mentioning that we're putting Army Geniuses and Execration kind of in the two teams to be promoted. We think Lil Gun are really short behind them. Yeah, it's got to be said. You got to take these series victories if you're going to be promoted. It has to be said.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Little Gun in particular, just because we are so close to that patch, and you know they're going to find something to abuse. So maybe they get a few wins that, you know, a couple of months down the track that they wouldn't. So we'll see what they're able to do. But we're not done for tonight. We're done for SEA, but we're not done for tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be jumping over to Eastern Europe, so it's going to be exciting. We got Team Empire taking on X3, so it'll be about 13 minutes of a break, different region, but more DPC action. Stick around. We'll see you guys after the break.